And 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of Naik Bulu Tales. My name is Fairil.
I'm Mo.
And this is a channel where we tell ghost stories.
Yes.
Well, real life ghost stories. People are submitting their stories to us. We look online for stories that we want to share that are supposedly true.
We tell stories. We invite guests to tell their stories.
Yeah, and we have a lot of fun in this. But before we get going with our stories, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for supporting and help us grow this channel.
Why don't you tell them a reminder what this show is all about?
Well, yeah, I mean, just a little recap. We gather a lot of stories, ghost stories from people who have experienced it in real life, and they send it to us, and we just read it out loud because sometimes people don't like to be in front of the camera, so we just tell them to write it out. So if you guys have any stories out there, submit it to us, and maybe we'll be able to share it with the world. And aside from that, we also invite speakers to come on and tell their real life experiences.
Yeah, so pretty much this show is inspired by the 90s show Tales from the Crypt.
Yeah.
That's why there's tales in our Naik Bulu.
Yeah. And so, the first segment, basically, we will read your story that we found online. Mm-hmm. And second segment is when the speaker comes in. So we're going to get straight into it. And Mo's going to read the first story.
Yes, I found this on Reddit. Mm-hmm. It's a doozy.
Is it now?
Buckle up. This is a Lord of the Rings journey,
goodness.
Okay?
All right, guys.
Because it's under the subreddit Ghost Stories. It's by user scared __ sorbet 4483.
And these nicknames that come up.
Hey, you should hear mine. Mine's like unmuscle 815. I have no idea, but okay. All right. So this story is called An Airbnb Experience I'll Never Forget. All right, so let's get to it. The city had been suffocating me. The constant noise, the never-ending hustle, and the relentless pressure, they were all taking a toll on my mental health. I was just 32, but I felt decades older. So I decided to escape to a place where silence was the loudest noise, and when the pace of life was dictated by the rising and setting of the sun. I found a quaint little Airbnb in the countryside, an idyllic log cabin surrounded by acres of dense woods, far away from the maddening crowd. To be honest, it seemed like a dream, but little did I know, it was a nightmare in disguise. Upon my arrival, the cabin appeared as charming as the pictures, rustic, isolated, and peaceful. But as the sun began to set, the cabin started revealing its true colors. At first, it was the little things, the way the wooden floor creaked under my feet, even when I was standing still, the peculiar smell that lingered in the air, sweet yet metallic, the way the wind howled through the trees, almost like a mournful cry. Then, I started noticing the oddities. The mirrors in the cabin didn't reflect my image correctly. My reflection was slightly delayed, as if it were another person mimicking my movements. The paintings on the walls seemed to shift when I looked away, their subjects twisting into grotesque figures. As the night fell, I heard whispers, soft, eerie whispers that seemed to come from the walls. They spoke of sorrow, of loss, and of something darker that I dared not contemplate. Then came the figure. Every night at the stroke of midnight, I could see it in the window, a silhouette standing in the woods, watching. It was always there, unmoving, just watching. I couldn't bring myself to leave. It was as if the cabin had ensnared me in its eerie charm. Every day I would tell myself, oh my God, I'm leaving tomorrow. But when tomorrow came, I found myself drawn further into the mystery of the cabin. What is this place? What secrets does it hold? Why does it not let me go? The questions consumed me, fueling my curiosity and fear in equal measure. But I was determined to uncover the truth or be consumed by it. Days turned into weeks. I found myself weirdly drawn deeper into the hypnotic rhythm of the cabin, and the figure in the woods seemed closer, and the cabin's oddities became more pronounced. One day, I found a trap door under a worn-out rug. It led to a basement I hadn't known existed. The air was damp, filled with the scent of old earth and something. A smell that made my stomach churn. It was the same sweet yet metallic smell I noticed when I first arrived. In the dim light, I could see something etched into the stone walls. Symbols, old, unfamiliar, crisscrossed the surface in a pattern that made my head spin. The same symbols were carved into a wooden pedestal at the center of the room, upon which sat an old leather-bound book.
Okay.
As I approached the book, the whispers grew into a cacophony. I could hear distinct words, a chant repeating the same phrase over and over now. I couldn't understand it, but I felt a pull, a compulsion to open the book. With trembling hands, I opened it. The pages were yellowed with age, covered in the same symbols from the walls. But there, in the middle of the book, was a picture that made my blood run cold. It was the cabin. And standing by the window was a figure, the same figure I saw every night. But in the book, the figure wasn't outside the cabin. It was inside, staring directly at me. I recoiled in horror, dropping the book. The room plunged into silence. I could feel a presence behind me. I didn't want to turn around, didn't want to see what I knew was there, but I had to. I turned around, and there it was, the figure. It was no longer a silhouette, but a clear, ghastly apparition. It was as if someone had taken a snapshot of despair and molded it into a humanoid shape. It reached out for me with a hand that was both there and not there. My instinct screamed at me to run, but my feet were rooted to the spot. I was a statue, a prisoner of my own fear. The apparition's hand touched my face. It was ice cold, yet it burned. As it did, I felt a wave of emotions flood into me: sadness, anger, fear, despair. These weren't my emotions, they were its. Suddenly, I was somewhere else. I was still in the cabin, but it was different. Alive, filled with people. I was seeing through someone else's eyes, feeling their emotions, living their memories. I was the apparition. I saw the cabin as it was. Not a building, but a prison. A place of punishment for those who dared to challenge the natural order. The apparition, I realized, was not a ghost, but a prisoner, trapped in the cabin for an eternity. The memories became darker, filled with pain and sorrow. I felt every moment of the apparition's loneliness, every second of its despair. It was too much. I screamed, or at least I thought I did. The next thing I knew, I was back in the basement, the apparition gone. I left the cabin the next morning. As I walked away, I could still feel its gaze on me, but it was different. It was no longer a gaze of menace, but of gratitude. I had shared its pain, its solitude. I had given it something it hadn't had in a long time: company. As I left, I glanced back one last time. There in the window stood the figure watching me leave. But this time it wasn't alone. Standing next to it was another figure, a familiar one. It was me. I had left the cabin, but a part of me would always remain trapped in the eerie solitude, forever sharing the cabin's haunting secret. Then he said, there's an update. I've been back in the city for a few weeks now. The noise, the chaos, it's all the same, but I'm different. The cabin changed me in ways I'm still trying to understand. Every night I dream of the cabin, of the figure in the window, but it's not a nightmare. It's almost comforting. It's strange feeling being connected to something so far away, so different from my own reality. I've started writing. I felt a compulsion to share my experience, to tell the world about the cabin and its prisoner. Reddit seemed like the right place. The stories seem to resonate with people. They're drawn to the fear, the mystery, the unknown. But for me, it's more than just stories. It's catharsis. It's a way for me to understand what happened, to make sense of my encounter with the supernatural.
Damn.
I got emotional. I was like, oh.
Hey man,
that feels in the story.
The beginning part when he was telling the story about the book, I was like, is that Evil Dead?
I thought exactly the same thing.
It's like it's so familiar.
Even though the story was long, it was really well written.
Yeah.
So when I read it out loud today earlier, I was like, oh, I think it's engaging, right? It was engaging enough to follow.
So it was like, at first he thought it was something dark and.
Well, he was going through something, right?
Yeah.
So he needed to be in this place of darkness to realize his light, you know? And I always feel, especially with mental health, you know, we always go through something, right? That will change us forever, and that a part of us needs to die to be reborn again. You know, the parts that the pain. I tell you, we need our pain. We need our pain to, you know, to be who we are today.
Yeah.
But damn, right? Airbnb experience. You'll never forget. Definitely not forget. Never. Neither would we.
Yeah. I mean.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just like, wow.
Because out in the middle of nowhere by himself. And that thing just happened right away.
Yeah.
Right.
What stayed with you when you heard the story?
I mean, what stayed with me was the thing just gave no mercy in the beginning. He's just like, as soon as he arrived, just bam.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you know that I'm gonna make myself known to you.
Right.
You know, I'm not giving you no chance. I'm boom, bam, 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 bam. You know, but he actually, I think the way he handled it was very, I don't know, for lack of a better word, mature about it.
True. I mean, in a weird way, I felt like this figure like knew what this guy was. You know, why was he was because that silhouette was probably another person that was also trying to find catharsis in like life, and
anybody who comes there, they leave a little piece of them.
Because it starts with the city had been suffocating me. This guy wasn't happy.
Yeah.
You know, he's really going through something.
Wow.
Great story, guys. I mean, sacred underscore sorbet 4483. That's off to you. What you got, man?
I got a short film.
Okay, good.
It's
okay, this is like a
feature film.
Godfather trilogy. Okay.
Mine's short.
Okay, good.
But my story comes from Japan. Yeah, it's by savvytokyo.com. That's a website that I found. And the title of the story is Bad Apartment. And it goes like this. I live in a 5-story apartment building in downtown Nagoya. It's not a new building, but it's not a dump either. Rent is pretty cheap and is well maintained, but otherwise unremarkable. I live in an end unit and thought my only neighbor was horrible. The first week I lived there, they would bang on the wall constantly. I know I was noisy when I moved in and was putting my furniture together, but come on. I thought they'd chill out after I had, finished my moving and had my place sorted out, but no luck. I dealt with it for almost a month. But then the smells started. It just smelled so wrong in there, like old garbage and human waste. I caved and called the building management company, who said they'd look into it. They called back and told me that the apartment had been empty since before I moved in. I told them about seeing the door partially open once or twice, thinking it might be a squatter, so they sent someone out there. The staff and a cop knocked on the door, head in, and found absolutely nothing. It was spotless. No garbage, no signs anyone had been living there, and it didn't smell either. So what was all that? I started talking to a lady who cleans the apartment building, and she tells me my apartment was a jikobuken. Right? I'm not entirely sure what jikobuken means, but you'll see the definition down here. Turns out the tenant before the last one was an old guy who died halfway in the bedroom closet. He'd fallen and banged on the wall for help, but the other neighbors were on vacation, and he eventually starved there. All the banging, the smells were coming from my own place the whole time. And I still lived there because, as I said, it was cheap. And so long as I leave the closet door open, I don't have any issues with banging or bad smells. So yeah, that's pretty much the story. So
I find interesting that a lot of Japanese stories have to do with a lot of suffering when they die. The movie The Grudge.
Yeah.
It was basically bad energy from a bad, the father murdering the wife and kids or something like that, and then the energy turned into an entity.
I think Japanese ghosts are actually one of the most scariest ghosts, in my opinion.
Thai and Japanese up there for me.
Yeah. But like, you know, when I watch Japanese films, horror films and stuff, sometimes I gotta look away because I'm like, shit, man, these their makeup is damn good.
Yeah, it's frightening because that's basically based on what they've heard.
But yeah,
that's really frightening. Even, you know, in Nuke's video, how the Japanese ghost hunters, right? And it's so funny. Like if there's something they catch in the window, it's a pale white face, and I know, like, the eyes are almost blacked out, but you can see their face. You know, and that's freaky to me.
Anyway, so make sure you leave your closet door open, guys.
Oh, Boogeyman. We watched that. Boogeyman was a good one.
Alrighty, so...
Okay, enough of us.
We're going to go straight on to our next guest.
I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, we'll be right back. And
we're back.
We are back with our second segment, and who do we have with us today?
We have a very, very special guest. Our favorite, actually.
Yeah, she is a makeup artist.
Wardrobe department.
She is also a director.
A woman of many hats.
A multitasker. And many stories.
Rosie.
What's up, girl?
Hi, everyone.
Hey, everyone. Oh, hi. We got everyone.
She's so, I love thinking about Rosie. Rosie is so inclusive.
Relax. Don't worry about it.
Which camera?
Okay.
Hey, girl, you look at us.
Don't
worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
There's no cams in Naik Bulu Tales.
Yeah, it's her first time in front of the camera, so she's a bit nervous. No, I'm just joking.
Yes, I actually am.
How are you doing?
I'm okay. How are you both?
We're good. Thanks for coming on the show. You know,
you're most welcome.
One of our most supportive friends and things that we do.
Actually, always. Rosie was our avid fan since 2020, the pandemic, when we did Naik Bulu Tales, IG Live.
That was so cool. I was always looking forward to Fridays.
And you watched
Fridays.
I think so. Yes, we aimed for Fridays.
Whichever day it was, lah.
I think that's what we did. We aimed for Fridays, and you watched the show with like candles and no lights.
Yes.
Right?
You got in the mood with us.
That's what we like.
And now we are here, and we know that you have told us you've had a few stories.
Yes.
So the floor is yours, Rosie. What story do you want to share with us today?
I have many stories, but I think I'll share this one in particular. Okay, at one point in my life, I was kind of really heavily practicing meditation.
Right, okay.
And because of that, I became extra sensitive to energy and people, and I could feel a lot of extra things. I would pick up on information that I didn't need to know from people. I would...
Right.
Information.
I mean, you were on a couple of our shoots, right?
Yeah.
As our makeup and wardrobe, and sometimes you'd be like, oh, I feel like, I don't know, I can't be here, or something like that, right? So I guess that's what you're talking about, right? Sometimes.
Yeah, so sometimes when the energies clash, or I kind of get an alert, I get a zap in my spine or something. Yeah.
So how does it zap?
What is this, like a spiritual notification?
Yeah, it's like I get out of there, gotta go now, or stay away from this person. Yeah.
Okay, so it sounds like you're very hypersensitive.
Before
to energy,
I was
to all kinds of energy. Yeah.
Yes.
So this particular
story was about a year ago. Yeah, actually about a year ago, pretty recent actually. Last year in February.
Okay.
Like I told you guys, I was really sensitive to people and things and photos. I could just look at a photo and know what people are like.
Interesting.
Roughly.
Wow, that's next level. That's interesting.
Yeah, but that's because I was meditating and I was already tapping into.
When you're saying you know what people are like, are you saying in the sense of their characteristics, personality, and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Without even knowing them.
Oh yeah.
So basically, you can look at someone's photo or in front of them and whether they're a good or a bad person. Simple as that.
Wow. Okay.
But it's not a good thing though, because all of that extra information will kind of drain. drain your
Right.
energy.
Are
Like-
we good?
Of course,
Babe.
you guys are. So it was not a good thing for me because I couldn't go to the mall.
Wow.
I still can't go to like the beach or like jungle, or I kind of opened the door to something that I wasn't supposed to.
Right.
Yeah. So I have this thing called clairsentience. That's what you call it. If like you Google it, like you'll know that it's a thing where like I can feel information.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Wow thing.
No, that's amazing. It's blowing
no,
my
I mean,
mind.
you know,
It's not-
it's kind of in a way. I've never heard of that before, actually, to be honest.
Okay, yeah, well, so that happened to me. Not a
Okay.
good thing, though, because I feel that we all should just be humans and just have what we have, and that's good enough. We don't need any extra information, or we don't need to help anyone, or because everything's planned out by God already.
Right.
So let me get this straight.
Yeah.
You meditated so much to the extent you accidentally opened the door.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, so you didn't mean to do this?
Yes, I didn't mean to do it, and like,
So it's a gift in a way, a blessing and a curse.
probably because at this age, when you suddenly like receive this gift, you kind of don't know what the hell to do
Right.
with it. And you're just like, okay, what's happening to me? Like, why do I know? Like,
Right.
Okay.
okay, so the story goes like this. There's this guy, okay, not a boyfriend or whatever, just a guy that I used to know a long time back when I used to run like a modeling agency. Okay, so anyway, we lost touch for like a long time, and then all of a sudden he added me on Instagram. And then we started talking. So I'm like, hey, how are you, whatever. And then he was like, hey, Rosie, let's do some business together. So I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, no problem. And then he goes on to sending me like screenshots of like his like your statistics, your
Profile.
profile,
Right.
what you call it,
Like your
where you
portfolio.
can see your engagements on your social media
Analytics.
Yes,
Yeah.
Right.
Insights.
yeah, your insights.
Your
Yeah.
insights are, yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I find this guy sounds serious about it, and because I do photography, he's like, so you can do the photos and the content, and then I can kind of sell it.
Okay.
So he's big on Instagram and whatever not he was on. So okay, fine. I said okay, and then I went on to setting a date to meet him. So I went to meet him, and when I was there, it was just like a mama stall, kind of like a mama warung,
Okay.
but like a shop lah, right?
Right.
I went there, and he was there. So he said hi and whatever, and I realized that there was a long line of people waiting to see him. So I thought, okay, that's weird,
Okay.
because he asked me to come on like this time. So I thought, okay, maybe he just decided to put all of his meetings at the same time, and I had to wait my turn, whatever. So while waiting for him, there was like this abang that was sitting on the next table, and then for some reason he was looking at me, and I was looking at him. You know, you have that with some people where you're like, oh,
Like
Checking each other out.
macam kenal or
macam kenal,
Macam kenal,
or
but-
like,
More like intrigued.
yeah, no, let's be friends kind of thing.
Right.
So because I didn't want things to be awkward, so I'm like, hi, abang. So I went to sit with him because I'm alone there, right? I went to sit with him, and he felt safe. And then so when I was just taking my chair to put it next to him, I picked up on silat. Yeah. So
Okay.
so
What do you mean by you picked up on silat?
that means the energy is coming from him, that he does silat.
Right.
Okay, so when I sat down, I just asked him casually, so abang buat silat ya? And then he was like, yeah, so what do you do? So I was telling him what I did and whatnot. And then he was like, how come you can pick up on my silat thing? You ada ilmu apa-apa ke? I'm like, tak ada. I'm like, no. I'm just sensitive to these things. So he's like, oh, okay. So he was showing me what he does. So he actually is paranormal investigator.
Whoa, we gotta get him on the show. Maybe not him though. But
He has a full-blown YouTube channel
Oh wow. Okay.
on
Okay.
like how he would chase spirits out of places.
okay.
Okay.
So he's kind of like an exorcist.
Exorcist, but
Yeah.
like a
Um,
Muslim.
yeah. Malay,
But he was
Malay.
nice though. He was just very he was almost his energy was like he was a very protective abang.
Okay.
Like an elder brother.
Okay, yeah.
So he was showing me footages of how he would like do exorcisms and like schools and things like that. And in the videos, he's like yelling and saying like, "In the name of God, you gotta get out of here. These students need to learn." Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
It's
So
like
I'm like,
movie stuff, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Kind of scary, but at that time I was really brave.
Okay.
Anyway, so I was showing him footages of like something that I experienced about a year prior to that when I went to Indonesia.
Okay.
For some reason, I found myself in like a taman with whoever I went with at that time, and there's a bunch of like teens in the full-blown like
Traditional wear.
and I thought it was a dance, right? And then I see this young girl with like a headscarf, so I'm like, okay, this must be safe because she got a headscarf
Right.
on. Because she's like Muslim or something, right? So
You would think, right?
Yeah, I would think.
Like,
So Rosie goes right through the like right at the front before the line. There was like a string. Okay.
Right.
So I was there waiting, and then I see these dudes putting rose petals around the.
Girl.
No, it's like a gelanggang.
Okay. It's like a little. Okay.
Like
I get what
a-
you mean. Yeah.
It wasn't a circle. It was more like a squarey area where they were gonna dance.
Yeah. Their platform.
Their platform. So I'm like, oh wow, what is this?
I mean, I
Rosie,
mean,
what is this? So I went there and I was
were
like,
they rose petals?
rose petals.
Okay.
And then I saw that they were also putting something else. I don't know if it was salt or something else or abu or something. Not sure. Anyway, so I was there, and what I was about to experience was like the craziest thing, where these dudes were just dancing till they would get tired, and then they would get into a trance one by one, and they would get in a trance with like a animal-y kind of spirit,
Okay.
and they will act that way.
Like they're familiar.
No,
Yeah,
it
they're
was
familiar
act-
animals.
Like there was one dude where his fingers completely changed to like a bird-looking, like using that,
right.
and his fingers were on the ground.
Okay.
So all of these things, I was showing this new abang that I just met, the one that. So he was explaining everything to me, like what that is, what it's supposed to do. They live like that. We don't really do that anymore. So yeah, we were talking and it was nice. And for some reason, he stopped and he looked at me and then he was like, "They understand authority. Make sure you remember that." In Malay lah, he was telling me. So I'm like, oh, okay. And then we were talking and then he had to leave because he was actually waiting for his friend who was talking to this dude, right? So when he left, he like turned around and said, "Okay, bye adik." So I'm like, okay, baiknya you ni. So I was like, wow, okay, that's so nice of him, so nice to meet him. So then, when it was my turn to see this guy who was supposed to do business with me, no one was around anymore. It was just me and another younger boy. So at this time, I saw this young boy. This guy told him to go to the 7E, and he came back with like 3 bottles of milk in a bag.
Strange.
Yes. I saw it and I'm like, kenapa beli susu tiba-tiba? So I'm like, okay, what is this? But I didn't think anything of it because it's just a young boy.
Right.
So, and then we were talking, me and this guy that was supposed to do this whole meetup about doing business together, and he wasn't even talking about anything businessy. And I don't know why, all of a sudden he asked me like, okay, bear in mind this time, the shop lot, the shutters were halfway down. I was in the
Yeah. Okay.
I
Red
was
flag.
Red flag. Time to run, Rosie. Might still give it a chance because he was still polite. I was seated inside at the table near the shutter. Thank God that I could run anytime, but I didn't though. This guy suddenly goes like, you belakang you sakit-sakit ke? Ada sakit belakang ke? I buat fitness. I boleh tolong betulkan balik. I'm like, okay, well, no, it's okay. I don't need anyone to like correct my spine or whatever. It's fine. I'm okay. And then he's like, no lah, come, let me crack your spine for you or something like that. He said. And then for some reason, I said, okay, because I am a dumbass.
Oh dear. Okay.
So when he was about to come to me, he told me to put my hand up. Okay? So, dumbass Rosie put her hand up. He put his hand on my spine and for some reason said a Malay prayer word that totally changed my whole perception of life in general, and I felt something shoot up my toes all the way up to my ankles, all the way up to before my knees, and I knew exactly what it was. It was exactly what I was showing the abang earlier, and it was, oh, by the way, that my chair had a batik cloth.
When this the second time you met this guy?
No, this is the first time.
The first time I missed out on that part. So where I was seated, there was a batik cloth on it. So in the videos that I was showing the abang just now.
Yeah. So let me get this straight. There are two dudes that you met.
Okay.
One that took you to the dance group, the platform.
No. That
It's
was
the same guy. That's why I'm a little confused.
No. So what she was saying was she went to meet this first guy, which is
the guy who wants to do business with her.
correct.
Yeah.
When she was there was another guy.
That's what I'm saying.
She spoke to that guy.
And that guy brought her.
No. I was showing him a footage of what I saw.
Oh, what you saw.
So I was basically
Oh, so you were there.
describing-
Okay.
Yeah, I was describing what I saw in the video to you guys.
Right. Okay.
And I was also
Showing
asking
him.
him about it, and he was explaining everything to me. So in that video, there are parts of it where, like, if they wanted to remove the spirit, there's a batik cloth involved. To put the spirit in, there's also a batik cloth involved.
That's new to me. I've never heard that before.
I think it's something that they put on, like a I don't know, mantra or something, where they keep that particular one just to, like the gate.
Right.
Yeah. I was seated on a batik cloth. And this dude comes, this is completely different scenarios, yeah? But they're all somehow connected.
Yeah.
This guy comes and places his hand on my lower back, my spine, and says something, and that's when I feel something shoot up my legs, and I'm like, whoa, brother, kau buat apa?
Oh man.
So what did you say that? Did you ask him that?
Yeah, I stood up. So when I stood up, I almost fell because I lost control of my legs, because he had actually put a spirit and it was coming through my toes. It was going all the way up already, and I stood up just in time before it took control of my body, because I think if it went past my knees, it would have already like had complete control of like my whole body. So
Damn.
What was his purpose of doing this?
okay, so what I understand is when people have these things, so when they keep spirits or a sucker or something, you have to do something back for them. In his case, I think he was trying to give it a human experience, which also explains the milk.
So this thing, whatever it is, he also fed them milk or whatever. It could be, right? Or
Because,
the milk could be used for something else for their spirit, right?
yeah, because when I saw what I saw in Indonesia in that footage that I was showing the abang, they were feeding them food like bananas and doing all sorts of just simple things to us, but for them it's something else, I guess, because they don't get to experience it.
Okay. So I just want to get a few things clear, because I guess I got lost in translation. No, it's on me. So the night you're supposed to meet the guy with the business, you met an abang there. You showed him footage on your phone.
Yes.
Did you still talk to the guy that wanted to do business that night itself?
Yes, I did.
Yes, this is all in one night.
Yes.
It's all in the same place.
Same night, same
Same
place.
place.
It's
Within,
correct. That's why like so many things happen.
Yeah, so
now. Okay.
just to recap real quickly. She went there.
Yeah.
She sat down. So she was waiting for the other guy, right?
Yes.
But you saw him. He had a whole line of people waiting for him.
Yes.
Sorry.
Correct.
But then you met this other abang.
Yes, that
and
was
you had a
me.
conversation with him, and you showed him the footage.
Yeah.
Correct. Then he left,
Yes.
and then you went to see this other person right there.
Yeah.
Which at this point no one was there, and now the shutter is like half closed.
That was the boy.
There was a boy there.
that brought the milk, right? So I remember the boy that brought the milk.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when I stood up, and I'm just in shock, but then in my head I'm thinking, bro, and I'm calling myself bro, I know, bro, stay the fuck calm, don't run, because it's only gonna get worse. Something like, how do I get out of here right now? Like how? But then seriously, is God always plans things out for you, right? So when I stood up, and then he realized, okay, this whole thing tak jadi, like whatever he wanted to put in me tak jadi.
Yeah.
I because at that time I was still practicing meditation, which I don't really recommend unless you really know what you're doing.
So you were quite strong, so this thing can't really go inside you.
More like because of what Abang said when you membantah, because you need permission.
Yes, that's true.
He did it without permission. So when I'm like, no, you can't get in me, you can't use my body, it came out. But you have to be strong enough, and you have to think quickly enough to fight it.
It's like, oh hell no.
We've seen this in all these demonic movies. You cannot enter without permission. Right? You cannot.
Correct.
You have to allow it.
Yeah, you have to allow it. So he thought I was weak. Probably he was probably just trying his luck.
Little did he know, Rosie is strong, girl.
No, but what I think happened was probably I don't know, maybe God arranged it in such a way where it's like a lesson for him to know that, okay, you can't do this to like every Tom, Dick and Harry, or just to stop doing it to, if he's
every
doing
Tom,
it.
Dick and Rosie, you can't do
If
this.
he's doing it to anybody else, oh my God, that'll be so scary, okay?
Joe, I got a question though.
Yeah.
So when you were, that footage that you showed the second guy you met,
Yeah.
when you were there recording it, correct?
Yeah.
Did you feel any kind of weird energy there as well? And then what happened after it was done?
Okay, so when I recorded that footage, it was way before I was sensitive. It was way before I did my meditation. So it was basically like something that would intrigue all of us, that will make us be like, oh, it's so interesting, let's go watch it.
Yeah.
It's like a
perception changes when you are in that situation and when you're just a spectator.
Right.
Yeah. So I was cool with having it on my phone or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Dang. So, okay, so how did you get out of that?
Okay, so it went like this. So when I stood up, I said, bro, kau buat apa? And then he was like, mana ada buat apa-apa? So I'm like, okay, he wants to play that game. So I'm like, okay, chill. Just, you will get out of here, don't worry about anything. Then he goes to the toilet. He says, kejap, nak pergi tandas kejap. Just like that, from trying to put a thing in me to like, I'm going to the loo.
These balls on this guy.
Shit,
The balls on this motherfucker.
So he went to the toilet, but what he was actually doing, so when he went to the toilet, I just got straight into my meditation like pose. Like I didn't care, I just sat. Like I said, which I don't really recommend. I just sat and I just like tuned into like what the hell just happened. Immediately I got a tiger. When I closed my eyes, it was Hisaka. So then I knew, oh, okay, this guy keeps something. It was Hisaka.
Wow.
He doesn't know better, so it's okay, just let it go and just try and get out of there. So while he was there, he was trying to put a forgetting spell on me. I picked up on that. He was trying to put a forgetting spell on me. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to play along. So when he came back, then he just acted like, so besok buat apa?
Oh, he thought you forgot. He thought it worked.
My question is, why didn't you get the fuck out of there when he went to the
but she wanted to remain cool. That's
no,
what-
but there was nobody else there, right?
There's the boy.
There's the
Okay,
boy.
this is okay. Wait, I missed out one part. So while he was in the toilet and he was doing the forgetting spell, I knew that I'm just gonna play along with his forgetting spell and get out of there. The same time, I picked. Okay, the boy is sitting in front of me, right? At one point, before I closed my eyes, our eyes met. I closed my eyes, I saw the tiger,
Hisaka.
and then I saw a lady in a mauve scarf, the long ones. It was the boy's mom.
Oh.
Yeah, I picked up on the boy's mom. So she's, I think, what's the word, really holy, pious, like a Muslim lady.
Yeah.
So I opened my eyes and I looked at him and I'm like, Mama mana? And then he said, Mama ada. And then I asked him again, like, Mama, you tahu ke you buat semua ni?
Because she's alim, right? Very alim.
Yeah. And that's when he started crying.
You got him.
I got chills.
You got him.
I saw his, because he started crying when the other guy came back from the toilet. He just got out and he's like, Abang nak balik sekarang lah. And then he got his stuff. So that was the same time I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go home as well. So that's how I got out of there safe. So that's my story. Story doesn't end there.
Okay. Oh, wow. This is like...
Okay.
So of course when I get into the car, I'm like shaking and I'm like,
I gotta breathe. Okay.
Ooh, you
All right.
like part 2, 3, 4 here.
so I get home, right, and then I get a text from him. Okay, this guy, he goes, I think to be sure that the forgetting spell worked on me, he sends me a bila nak lepak lagi. Check this out, from a business thing to like lepak. So I said, I'm not gonna see you anymore. I know who you are. And as I was about to block him, I get a message of like a thing written in Jawi
From him.
Full on paragraph written in Jawi, and bam, I fell. I lost control of my whole body, and I was just on the floor in my house.
Right before you wanted to block him, he sensed that.
Yes.
Oh my God. Ooh.
And then now I'm just on the floor. I cannot speak. My mom's downstairs. I'm upstairs. I can't say anything. I can't move. I feel like I just got electrocuted. And so I'm just trying to fight this thing, right? So I crawl to my Bible. Then I open my Bible and I start just reading it because I can. So now I'm still on the floor, yeah. I'm literally crying. It was like a war zone where I got hit by something, and I'm just trying to
So you put the special effects, the
struggle
bombs,
to stay alive.
The war is going through right
It
now.
literally is spiritual warfare. So I get to my Bible and I start reading it, and it slowly goes away. And finally I can speak, and this whole thing goes away. And I'm like, okay, this whole other world is not to be messed with. And you got to be so careful who you meet. You got to be so careful. I don't know, like new people, business proposals, and people who do all these things. You never know.
You know, this is really good insights, you know, for people.
Yeah.
I mean, we would never think this would be a thing. When we heard of it, just imagine a girl, asked us to meet her to do business. She wants to put her soccer into us.
People are crazy nowadays.
I know, no, yeah. I mean, I'm upset at this guy. He's giving Islam a bad name, giving Malays a bad name. Did he think you were Malay?
No,
right?
He knew that I was a Christian. But let me tell you this. Let me tell you this. It happened to me for a reason, because after that, of course, I freaked out about, like, if I see anything written in Jawi or whatever, I flip. And the fact that he used the word Bismillah before putting his saka in me, I read about it just to understand, just to heal from the mindset that all Islamic things are bad. So I put in the work. But if this happened to somebody else, they will cancel the religion out. They will cancel Malays out. So there's a good reason why it happened to me, because I knew how to heal from it. And I'm not going to let just like one bad apple spoil the good name of Islam or whatever. I would never do that, because, you know.
But he's not really, well, most of us, we're more spiritual than religious, but we still believe in God. And I wouldn't, there is no God that, God is against ilmu.
Of course, there's a surah in the Quran, Surah An-Nisa 48 to 51, about not having other gods besides.
Correct.
Yeah.
Because, Konon, he's God-fearing. No, he's not.
But I think what it is the generation is too close to the generation now, is too close to the generation that used all these things to survive. What I've learned from this story is that I think we should all learn how to understand that we will never understand the other world completely, and to always trust in God. God is bigger than anything else, above everything. All of these jinn, saka, apa semua, they got nothing on God. So be brave, and if at all this happens to me again, I will know that I'm strong enough to handle it.
And you were able to actually face your fears.
Literally face my fears, but it's all God. It's all God giving me strength.
Wow.
It's not me.
You're so brave. So brave, babe. Thank you so much for sharing this story.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.
I mean, if you guys enjoyed this story, comment below. Tell us what you think about Rosie's story. I mean, I was speechless the whole time.
Well, especially if you or someone is going through the same thing, reach out to us. Reach out to Rosie. Maybe she can help.
We'll put Rosie's socials down.
Follow her on her socials. Yes.
And don't forget to subscribe, comment, like. It will really help us grow the channel.
Yes.
And we always appreciate your support, and thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it so much.
My name's Fairil.
I'm Mo.
This is.
And I'm Rosie.
And till next time.
Naik Bulu Tales.